you guys, honestly.
Yeah, me too. You guys are going to be talking about the laws and this new FAA. Yep.
Oh,
we're live.
Oh, I can hear somebody.
Hello, everybody.
What's up, folks, and welcome to Drone Therapy, Season 4, Episode 7, with our special, we actually have two special guests tonight. Mr. John DeNardo, as seen often in mornings on the Canadian Drone Hub.
Hello, everybody.
Where am I getting an echo? Did we kill the echo? I don't know where it was.
Not from me.
All right. Hello, and also we have a very extra special guest. I'll give you everybody a tease. Yes, the Skydio has finally landed! Yay! Now it's going to go back in hiding for a little bit till we can get all around the room and introduce everybody. And so again, it's the Skydio's landed. We're going to be talking about the Skydio and our personal experiences, mine, Ron, and John's. And both Jim and John are going to ask us some questions to kind of see what we are so far with it and what we think of the drone. And with that being said, I'm going to throw it to Ron Brown.
Brown.
oh.
How is everybody tonight? Looks like we got a great panel, and this is the Skydio show. We've been waiting for the Skydio show. This is going to be a good one. So, I'm going to throw it over to my good friend, John Cuppi.
Hey, Ron, this is going to be a great show, I think. I was saying before, I'm going to be sitting back. I don't have a Skydio personally, so I'm just going to be listening a lot and asking you guys questions because, you guys all got experience with it. So I'm going to be learning a lot tonight. I think the chat will be too. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Above and Beyond Drones.
Oh, that's Jim.
Yeah, Jim's filling in. Jim's filling in for Ethan while he's out for a couple of weeks because Jim has really wants to do a software episode. So next week, I'm sure he's going to do one on his show, and then we'll continue one here on this show. We're going to cover a bunch of different softwares that I'll be talking about a little bit later. So welcome, Jim. How you doing?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I asked around, Bill, and it was like everybody was using something different for software, especially for editing. So that's why I wanted to do that. And then we're going to talk some FAA remote ID, which is comments ending March 2nd. Over to John.
Hello, everybody. Going to be talking about the Skydio 2 tonight with everybody. My experiences with it and everything. And also, I want to be here to learn a lot. We're gonna have a good panel tonight. Everyone's got something good to talk about, and hopefully I'm going to learn a lot about this Skydio 2 from everybody else that's out there. So, and on that, I think I would pass it back.
Yeah, we'll just throw it back to the whole group here. I'm just going to say quick shout outs into the group here. I'm going to roll through the top here. We've got a big boisterous crowd go up here. We've got Nacho coming in early. And then Jim was talking to him. Nacho was talking back and forth. We got Mitch coming in from Old Guy on the Drone telling everybody, hey, good to see you, Mitch. Jim, tomorrow, 9 a.m., whip flying at the gym at the regional park. So you know that. Okay, and you said STEM classes or guys getting together. Okay, let me roll down here.
Yeah, you better roll down.
We got Jody coming in. Glad to see you. Drone shots, Jody. We're going to go ahead. 3X Drones. Good to have you in the house, Ron. Yay, woo, Rick Albert. I'm going to be talking about you in a little bit, buddy.
Yeah.
Just here in a little bit. Good to see you in the house. Glad to have you here. Let me roll. Oh, Metro Drones. Good to have you in the house also, sir. Good to see you here. Thank you very much for showing up. Geeks Fauna Sean, good to see you. Thank you, sir. Good to see you here. Roto Droner. I'm trying to get through here. The Colby Man. Good to see you,
Yes,
sir.
that's John DeNardo.
Oh, that's John?
No, someone was like, OMG, is that John DeNardo? And I said, yes, it is.
Guys,
Yeah, Canadian Drone Hub Imports. Wait a minute. I saw Art just a second ago. Where did Art go? I'm trying to catch the one of Art's.
I don't see him.
Yes, right here. Art Code Drone Solutions in the house.
Yes, he was. I said
Unbox Warehouse. Good to see you, sir. Builder 710. Thank you. JD's Flying Canuck. Parts and Tech. Oh, let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling.
Got a good. Looks like we got a really good chat tonight.
All right,
many people coming out.
Okay. Got everybody here. So we have a special guest, like I was saying. Ron saying, "Hey, Lynn Ann, thank you." Calling into Mitch. Hey, so we have another special guest. My particular Skydio came in right about Valentine's Day, the same time John's did. And I figured out a way to make it another guest on the panel. So welcome, my Skydio.
Awesome. There you go. I was going to do that.
Welcome to the Skydio.
Woo! Anybody want to throw tips? She'll take her clothes off. Throw me a five. Come on, throw me a five. Oh, yeah. But yeah, and so my original set, I ordered the Skydio 2 and 1 battery. And then later on, because I got really excited and involved, I went ahead and ordered the ND filters, which I have to admit, up to now, I've basically seen are completely useless. So that was a learning experience for me. I've not really noticed that big of a difference, but it's really been cloudy here, so I've not had a bright sunny day to see just how much it will help or won't help. I'm beginning to think probably a polarizing filter would probably be more beneficial. And also I got an extra battery from a friend.
What friend would that be?
Yeah.
That would be Rick Halber, who I was saying that I was going to be mentioning a little bit ago. Because first off, he tricked me. He said, "Hey, I got these battery clips for transport for your Skydio batteries. I got 2 of them." And I was like, "Well, that's really cool, man. I only got 1, so maybe somebody else would want one. You can just send me one." He said, "Okay, but give me your address." So I gave him my address. And then he said, "You never know, Mama might go ahead and buy you an extra battery for Valentine's Day." And I was like, funny. So a couple days go by, and I get this message in my messenger on Facebook that says, "Well, Mama didn't buy you one, but you got another battery coming from the Skydio." So not only did he get me these cool little, he got, I think Ron said this came from Rick Smith. So it's like a dust plug for your adapter port back here. So like when you're flying, you don't have to worry about wet or anything like that. But the cool thing is these are 3D printed and they're magnetic too. So no taping, no nothing. And they'll still fit in the case and it'll still close up. So
you got a battery covers, and a plug just for being a nice guy?
Nice.
I got to start being nicer.
Well, the thing about was I tried. I really, 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 really tried to get him to let me send him something, give him something. So about the only thing he finally would let me send him was the new T-shirt. So I did get to send him the new T-shirt. So wait a minute, where's it at? I got it here. Where is it? Yep. So with that being said, I would like to give this week's shout out to Rick Halber, none other than Chef Drone. And if I can if I could get that file uploaded, I would try to play it later. But
wait! You had that picture a minute ago.
It was just a picture, though. It's not. It's just like the logo I made. Hang on. Okay, so I'm going to show you the logo. I have to open it with Chrome so that I can actually share. And then I come back up here.
I'll be right back.
We're still going to talk about the Skydio. I promise. Don't leave yet. I'm just trying to.
John's leaving. He's gone.
Rick is a phenomenal man in the drone community. Everybody here knows. So I created this. He loves to cook and he likes to fly, and it's still kind of blurry, but you can get the idea. None other than Chef Drone, Mr. Rick Halber. So
looks good on my end.
Yeah, it kind of cleaned up finally.
I thought we were gonna go with my name, instead of quadcopter, the quad shafter. No, I'm just kidding. That was so bad.
No, actually, I told him that name, but the thing about it was like when that's what popped into my head. So that's the logo I made.
No, it's fine. I'm just messing. Quad shafter just sounded strange.
Actually, it would be good for he could be, that could be his FPV name.
Yeah, quad shafter FPV.
There you go. Yeah. So once he starts building his own drones, he'll have his backup name.
Yeah, that would actually be a good one.
Yeah, it would be. Okay, so back to the Skydio. And John's not here. Okay, Ron, you've actually had the Skydio more than any of us and flown it more than any of us. What is your basic opinion of said drone?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. I do want to throw one quick thing in before I forget it. A good friend of a lot of people's, Rodney Bell, who's part of the Saturday morning sunrise crew. He had chest pains this weekend, and he's in the hospital right now, and he's scheduled for, I believe, triple bypass surgery at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So please, everyone, send prayers out to Rodney Bell.
Definitely thinking
Absolutely.
Yep.
Y'all missed what I said, didn't you? Rodney was it? Who was it? Was it you, Jim? It was you. He was in the chat, and I said, tell you what, Rodney. I said, when you go under, tell him to add 4 inches. Your choice as to where.
He said he was going to live stream
my coffee. Holy smokes!
So, yeah. So, but if Rodney's still here, whatever, best wishes, brother. We're all pulling for you. But my opinion is Skydio, as I said a little bit before I get in the air, it's hard for me to describe it. I mean, just when I take it out, it's a lot of fun. Like, I have more fun taking the Skydio out than I do any other drone. I mean, people had a lot of expectations of it being a long range flyer and being a Mavic 2 replacement. And for me, that's not the drone it is. It's a lot of people describe it as a GoPro camera that moves around. Maybe that's closer to it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, the camera on the Skydio 2 is really good. I think it has 7 stops of optical range on it, and the video straight off the memory card is much stronger than a lot of other drones. I rarely do much editing when the video comes off the Skydio. Even when it's pointing at the sun, it still does a good job. And so I'm very pleased with the camera. And as far as avoidance, I mean, I'm not running through forests and stuff like that, so I'm not the person to be the tester of how great of a avoidance drone is. I haven't hit anything with it, but I love it as a tracking drone. Not that, again, I'm not going to tell you it's better than my DJI drones at tracking, but it's easier because you don't have to dig down a couple menus to get to the tracking. If a car or person walks by the screen, you just hit the button and it just automatically tracks without any fishing around in the menus. That's probably one of my favorite things about it. But I think Bill has something to say.
No.
He's waving hello.
Oh,
but I got to thank you, Ron, for noticing me, because I want to say this. If y'all have noticed, Jim and John were doing one of these a minute ago, and I was having a $6 million man flash.
Yep.
I was going, Colonel Steve Austin in his Skydio 2 drone.
And Lindsay Wagner, what was she? She was the bionic woman.
Yes. Okay. So now we'll jump back into the real world. So, but so you're saying you don't edit very much with the Skydio, you don't have a reason to. So Billy was explaining to me that GoPro had worked with Skydio to actually enhance the settings or maybe change the initial settings somewhat so that they were richer, I think was what he was explaining to me. So,
right. Well, GoPro has that unique color profile that nobody else in the world has, whether you like it or you don't like it. They have that unique color profile where it seems like, again, Sky's hired some engineers there that have brought, as much as they can, much as they're allowed of that color profile over to the Skydio 2.
That's really interesting. So I did not know that some of GoPro's technology is in the Skydio 2 camera.
Well,
wow.
I mean, all we know is that they've hired some people that used to work for GoPro. The rest of what we just said is all speculation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would make some sense.
But if you look at the raw video coming out of the drone, it seemed to be more heavily saturated. But the darks don't seem to lose their texture. Like I was trying to show you earlier, even though the internet signal basically wouldn't allow it because it's 720. The way the Skydio caught the reflection off of the water. Hey, Ron, have you noticed too about how much further you can tilt the gimbal up to look up in the sky?
Yeah, it does go up more than most of my other drones, just counting the Parrot and Nafi, of course.
Exactly, yeah.
All the way up, but it's probably my second best tilter upper, next to the Nafi.
And the field of view seems, like you were saying, the depth of field seems so much. I don't know how to explain it. It seems like the video, the photos or stuff, the quality or the texture or the depth itself seems better. I don't know other way to explain
Yeah,
it.
I can't either, except that you got to just look at the footage. It takes great pictures too. I took a picture on the beach, back in January of it was still daylight, but the moon was coming up. And most times I can't get the moon in the drone. That white spot just at the show. This day, within 7 stops of the optical range, it even caught that moon, which again, I have a hard time getting that out of even my better drones with more manual settings.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and some, please, whoever it was that commented on our little preview video. Yes, I do not have any intentions of selling my Skydio 2. No way in hell.
I'll listen to offers.
You'll entertain offers.
I could be bought out of it, but
no, I'm not. No, you could not buy me out. No, Mel, not so much saturation. It's a combination of, yes, saturation is one of the things,
but it's everything.
Contrast, yeah, it's like
contrast,
the color profile, yeah,
everything.
Depth of field, all the combination of that, and that's where
Are you talking about dynamic range of the camera?
Yeah, it has 7 stops of dynamic range, which makes it.
But it's not just the dynamic range. It's that in combination with the unique color profile. Like Ron was saying, you really don't need to edit it coming out. I've only taken frames out of the footage. I've not actually taken pictures with it yet. Let me see. Where did I put that?
And Jim, what I'm amazed it does well in overly bright sunny conditions too, where a lot of drones fail.
But it does not like low light at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, it won't fly once it gets it gets a certain level of darkness. But I've taken sunset with it, whatever it can capture a lot of.
Oh, come on! That was today with the Skydio. Come on. That was today with the Skydio.
We got RD drone reviews just showed up.
Hello. Good to see you, Ryan.
Oh, good to have Ryan and
good to see you. Good to see you, Lloyd. I'm just gonna go clicking through.
Parks and Tex wants to know if you've flown that, Bill, and there you are flying it. But what's the flight time of the Skydio 2?
Mine personally, I've gotten about 21 and a half to 22 minutes on both batteries.
And
if you fly aggressively, you can almost get 20 minutes out of it. But remember, it's the process is to run all those optical avoidance cameras or whatever. It's doing more work than most drones are from the just from the computer inside processing all that information. But again, even in extreme conditions, you can still usually pump out almost 20 minutes.
Give me just a second. John, you might have to drop out and switch it, start your OBS, and come back in. But yeah, go ahead and try if you want to.
Yeah, I've never done it. I've never done it, but let me see what happens.
Yeah.
What's
Mitch does it. Mitch uses StreamYards. He's gonna
it seamlessly goes right into it. That's one of the I wanted to see how the video was gonna play.
Well, it's coming in I'm only broadcasting at 720, so it's gonna look like
crap.
But you all can still see the color profile here. Look how rich it is. It looks like what you would see with your eye on a normal day, here and there you can get you can see the depth of field and the dynamic range because you can actually see a layer to it. It looks to me like if they opened it up, it has the potential to be a really good mapping drone, as far as for the 3D capabilities. But we've only gotten 1-2 firmware updates, folks. So
it hasn't been many, and it got a app update recently, but it didn't. But the drone or the controller didn't get an update. Only the app did, which was kind of strange.
Was the app update just for iOS, or was it for both?
Well, I don't know. I don't have an Android device at the moment, so I can't check Android.
I do believe that it was just for the Android. I mean, for the iOS for the Apple.
The video. This is the video. Did you guys all must have went through that have this thing, the video of how to fly it. They want you to connect your phone first.
Yeah. And then the thing about it is it terrifies you when you do it the first time.
I didn't even realize. I thought it was like one of the DJI ones where you go into it. This is the video right here that I'm playing now.
Yeah.
I know it's a little choppy. It's because I'm on my laptop. If I had been a little bit more prepared, I would have had a better computer to use, and this should stream smoothly. But I thought it was going to be like a DJI thing where you go through, okay, up, down, left, right. This is how it works. Well, when you're doing that, it's actually moving the drone. It's not, it's
if
actually.
Come back on the show, it will be.
Nemo.
I just can't believe what it did. I mean, all of a sudden, the next thing you know, the thing is blowing back and forth and up and down, whatever you're doing on the screen. And I thought it was just going to be a tutorial. I didn't know it was going to actually control the drone when I was doing that.
Yeah, and the thing about it is each different positioning of the controls, which each one has a different set of abilities, I guess you would say. With
my God, yeah.
So it's like, so anybody try. There's a lot of different ways to control it, but it's almost like too much is not enough, or in between, or something like that.
The manual actually says, I don't try the controller or the beacon. They want you to use your phone first. That's what it says. So I'm just surprised that.
So John, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember. I think I saw you talking about this in the Canadian Drone Hub. Are you on the fence about the Skydio? So you're still on the fence about Skydio.
This is what's going on, right? That video I was just showing in the front yard of my girl's house, got all sorts of obstacles and stuff. I'm figuring I'm just going to put it in the air in the front yard, and I'm going to see what it says on this thing, because I had already flown it once with the controller. I didn't do it with just the phone. I did it with the controller in that big field. And that's what that first one was. I said, I'm a controller guy. Okay, so it flew around. I'm like, yeah, all right. I tried some of these things. I'm like, it's just not. Then I read the manual. And I'm like, oh, they want you to fly it first with that. So the tutorial comes up, because it didn't come up when you throw it into your controller, by the way. That happens when you connect just the phone to it.
So it starts flying it?
Yeah. Yeah, how to explain how to fly it? That didn't come up the first time I flew it with the controller. Actually,
that scared the crap out of me.
I flew it twice with the controller, and that tutorial doesn't come up, and that's why they want you to use your phone first. So the very first time I flew it was inside my garage. I have that video too, and I do the controller. I link everything up like it says. I finally realized you have to have a SIMS card in it, by the way. It will do nothing if you don't have a SIMS card in this bird. So you can turn it on all you want, and the app connects so far, and that's it.
What's a SIMS card?
The micro
card.
The micro card. Yeah, I think Kyle told us that when we had him on the show, that you got to have it in there.
Yep.
You absolutely have to have it in there. So I got this thing, and I have it all charged up, and I'm like, hey, there's no video. I'm trying to figure things out. That's when I started reading the manual, and I didn't get to the part. I was skipping through it. So it says, oh, you have to have a properly formatted micro SD card in the bird, right? It doesn't say or nothing works. It just says you need to have it properly, which I should have understood, but you're excited and you got the thing, and it comes without a card, by the way, everybody... Which is amazing. I can't believe they didn't throw a 8 gigabyte one in there or something for free. Even a 16. But
a 16, yeah. Come on.
Personally, that might throw me off too. Honestly, if I didn't notice that, because I can't think of a camera drone that I own that won't let me launch just because I don't have a micro SD card in there. Right. Almost all of them have always let me do it. In fact, usually I'll do my test without a micro SD card in it, just because I want to see. How does this thing behave? I don't want to have something happen and lose my card. So, that's happened before.
Yeah. And John, you bring up a good point, and I try to tell this. This drone was made like in a vacuum. Almost every other drone we fly, toy or semi,
Nothing like it.
all kind of have the same things going on.
Yeah.
They do things the same way. You kind of know everything because it's something. It's like these people made the Skydio 2. It's like they never looked at another drone. So
No.
almost everything with Skydio 2
From the
is a
ground
learning
up.
experience. Yep.
Now, John, talk about
it's good or bad. It's just the way it is.
John. Remember you when you were talking off screen? Talk about that "Follow Me" feature.
Oh yeah. I will. I'll tell you about that. So I wish my video streamed better so you could see it. So if I walked really slow, looking at my phone and trying to figure things out, you could hear the drone searching for me constantly, and you could see it moving from side to side and up and down and all around while it's going slow. So after the grumpy logger for president, I love that. So
Got my vote.
I figured I got everything on here. I make it go to the back of me. That was the first thing I noticed is if the drone's in front of you and you want it to go behind you, at least this is how mine reacts. It waits until I walk up next to it and then it goes behind me. Now, if it's behind me and I say front, it is like instantaneous. The thing rips around like that, and it makes that kind of noise, and it's in front of you. But then if you hit back again, it waits until you kind of walk up to it, and it goes behind you. So the slower I walked, the worse it had a hard time focusing on me. When I started to walk faster and got into like a slow run, because I can't run that well, hence the shots in the knees today. If you didn't know, I went and cut shots. So when I was running faster, it got behind me and it stayed behind me. And if I went sharp turn, it sharp turned with me. When I was walking slow and I went to the left slow, it kind of slid sideways instead of following me, you know, which makes sense. And then Bill brought up a point about there's a height in there. I thought it won't go below 8 feet with that on. That's the way I read it. When you take it off, it goes below 8 feet. I don't think that'll do anything for the tracking behind you because I tried it up high, I tried it low, and it was definitely when I walked slow that it had an issue following me.
Well, what would happen if you, I mean, how did you find out that you had to walk up to it in order for it to go behind you?
Oh,
because it wasn't doing nothing, right?
I had it in front of me and I'm sitting there playing with the controls and I'm like, all right, I hit back. It doesn't move. It doesn't move if you're standing still and you hit back for some reason. At least mine doesn't.
So now you're talking to it and saying, well, when the hell are you going to?
So I start to walk towards it and it slowly moves off. But I'll tell you what, if you're standing still and it knows it's in the back position behind you and you hit front, even though you're standing still, it goes to the front of you and it doesn't waste time. Right, Bill? And it just right to the front of you.
That's one of my biggest gripes, and I'm hoping, like I said, it's only been we've had 2 firmware, or no, only is it 2 or just one firmware update since they shipped.
One big one.
I know one big one. I know
one big one.
Okay, and they've not done anything with the controller yet. We know they can flash the controller. So, you know, they're gonna, hopefully they'll do something else. They've got all those people on the line for how many, 4 batches now?
Yeah.
So
one other thing I want to throw in on John's comments there about it being quick. The Skydio, I mean, maybe its top end speed doesn't touch the Mavic 2 or whatever, but the Skydio, you know, what do you call 0 to 60 off the line? The Skydio is one of the fastest drones I've seen from nothing to fast. Yeah, I mean, other drones like the Mavic 2 is faster, but it needs to get ahead of steam up. The Skydio is the top speed within seconds.
So I don't know if you guys tried this or not, but I took it off next to my car in the parking lot, and I walked into this field that's at least a mile deep. The field is. I'm about half a mile into the field, and I'm like, okay, I got 72% battery left. You know, I've been playing around. I'm going to hit the home point. So it asks you phone or where it took off from. I don't know if you guys tried this yet. You hit from where it takes off from, and that thing takes off just like, you know, Ron's saying. It's at maximum speed like that, and it's gone. And it doesn't turn and look that way. Whatever way that drone's facing, it goes to where it took off from. So I stopped it just before it got to the home point. And I said, okay, phone. That thing came back, avoided trees, and made a straight line for me. No matter which orientation it is now, because I'm watching the camera, and the camera's, it didn't spin back around or anything. Because it avoided one tree and went kind of turned. When I hit return back to the phone, it stayed that way and just rocketed back to me.
So the camera's not looking for you. It doesn't care about you.
Nope, it doesn't. A GPS spot, the GPS spot. That's it.
And you told me it doesn't have a compass calibration.
It doesn't, but it has GPS spot. So nothing in between. That's why it doesn't orientate itself or anything. It just goes back to that spot, no matter which way it's facing, because it doesn't know north, south, east, and west. So when a DJI drone takes off, it knows it's facing, north if you took it off that way. And when it returns home, if you notice that DJI turns back to the way it came and then takes off. It always orientates. This one doesn't. It just, no matter what orientation it is, it takes off as fast as it can. It doesn't slowly build up speed. It's just, it's the strangest thing. And that's what gets me so nervous, being able to control this thing, right? Because I'm used to slowly moving this camera where I want it and all that stuff. When you hit return home, it goes up, and it goes, if you have it so it goes up if you're not at the right. This doesn't change height. It doesn't do anything. If it was at 8 feet, it's going 8 feet at 100 miles an hour back to your spot. It's going to try to avoid anything that it gets close to, but it doesn't matter where that is. Height-wise, orientation-wise, nothing. It just goes back.
That would scare the crap out of me. Ron, what were you saying about that height limit thing?
Well, Bill brought, but it has a button in the software somewhere. It's called a height limit, and if you have it, it automatically comes on so that it won't track any lower than 8 feet. I mean, you can force it lower than 8 feet with the controller, but if it's tracking, it won't come any lower than 8 feet to track. And why that's important is I was trying to walk under a fishing pier at the beach, and the 8 feet wasn't enough. It had to come lower than that. So I had to turn the button off, and then it would come and track me like it needed to be like 6 feet or lower to get into this fishing pier. And once I turned the height limit button off, it followed me right under the pier.
Oh, yeah, cool. But did it have issues with, because it when it tells you, like, there's this like huge warning in the instructions, if you do this, you're taking your life in your own hands, and we're not going to replace your drone.
When you disable that, right?
Yeah, that's what it's like every warning known to man.
So what? I would love to know when Billy Kyle crashed his, if he had that on or off. Because if he had it on where it won't go below 8 feet, it shouldn't have slammed into the water.
Right.
But cameras now, if you read the manual, it tells you certain time of day with the sun in a certain height and certain conditions. And I got that to get a little squirrely looking at me, and it kept going out of seeing me in the camera because the sun's behind me, and it would go into GPS mode, and it gives you a big blue thing around your body in the camera.
You just figured it out, John.
And then go out GPS and then come back because
you just figured it out. You did. Okay. A perfectly pristine flat cranberry bog.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
With the mirror image, and it looked like it thought it was still in the sky.
That's right. That's what I thought.
It thought it was still in the sky.
And it doesn't know that it's not 8 feet above ground. It's looking for the ground, I think. And that's why it just dove. It thought it was still up, and it dove right into the ground.
Here's another footnote. Here's another footnote on Billy's video. If you watch it closely, right before he crashes, it says it's lost control. Lost connection to the beacon.
Yes.
Yep.
And remember, we were talking in the private chat where someone said connect the phone to the drone and then the beacon to the phone, or that's definitely not how you do it. And I don't know if that was before the firmware update or after the firmware update. I don't know if it could connect the other way before, but I don't see how it can connect the other way. If you're going to use the beacon, you want the beacon to connect to the drone, and then you connect your phone to the beacon, and that's how you get the further.
It's the way it is even with the controller. You connect the devices first, then you plug in your.
You plug in your phone, and unless it's going to fly.
But that's what we were talking about, Ron.
Yeah.
John figured it out. It thought it was still in the air.
I think it thought it was still in the air, right?
Yeah, it thought it was still. It thought it had plenty of room. It saw the reflection, and where it doesn't have a compass.
No. Let me see the bottom of that thing, Bill. Does it not have the ultrasonic sensors on the bottom?
No, it just has vision sensors. Just vision.
Just vision. Well, where am I here?
Yeah, I see it.
Just the camera. That's it. There is nothing else because you got the battery.
So it doesn't know how high it is.
It does not know, except for GPS height. There's no way for it to tell. It has to
not know that.
And it literally thought it still had room to fly.
Right. It thought it was flying through the sky without a problem because that's
a big problem.
Right. And I actually got it to do that with the sun behind me because I read it in the manual. It says be careful at dusk and when the sun's setting and you're flying into it. It says that.
Right, well, you literally can't fly the thing at night. So,
right, you cannot take it off.
It won't even let you take off at a certain darkness.
Right, it will not. So if you're flying it and it gets dark as you're flying, like you go under a bridge or a tunnel, I don't know what's going to happen.
We've seen those videos. Somebody did that, went to a dark tunnel and it crashed. I forget whose video that was.
I forgot too.
Did that video stay up long?
Ron, how long?
Yeah, that's really.
Sorry.
That's really interesting. That's really, really interesting to me. So that thing has no bottom. At all.
It must.
Let me add this.
Barometric pressure sensor, though. It's got to have a barometric pressure sensor.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah.
But what was that?
I was saying it does. Now it does give you telemetry, so it does know how high it is off the ground, and the telemetry it's fairly accurate from the eye test or whatever. So I guess that the downward sensing camera must be able to calculate some kind
not
of
unless it's LiDAR.
Right.
Not unless it's LiDAR.
So that's he's figured it out completely. That's exactly what happened. It was just how like you see somebody take a gorgeous picture and the reflection is exactly what you see.
Yes.
So it was just one of those freak instances where it was the perfect freak out of the drone. Just like any one of us, our eyes can be tricked that easily too.
And the other thing. We got to watch his video again and see if that blue ring is around him. And I think it did. I think it went out of the GPS lock. I mean, the visual lock, and it went into GPS lock. So now it doesn't matter which way it's orientated. So the cameras could have been facing the sun. It could have been on an angle. It could have been anything, flying fast, trying to keep him in GPS. But the drone could have been backwards like this because the camera's not on his car at that point. And the sun could have been right in it, and it just thought, let's go.
But he was standing right there, John.
But it didn't never lock back onto him. It never locked back onto him.
When it crashed. He took off when it crashed, didn't he? Wasn't he in the car driving when it crashed in the water?
But maybe he was, but
he walked back to the car.
He got lost in the woods.
Right.
He went to get it out of the woods. And as soon as he got out of the woods is when you saw it lose connection to the beacon. And then veer off and take a dive.
Didn't he jump back in the car and start to take off again when it crashed? Or
no, he was standing there.
He was walking back to the car, had his phone in his hand, and he's walking back, and then it kind of cruises around like we were talking about that unbelievable acceleration that does drive me crazy.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And so and then you just hear him go, oh. And then he goes, and he tells the guy driving, he's like, "You're not going to believe this." He goes, "My drone just crashed. Hit the water. Yeah, my drone just took a dive in the water." And he was like, "What? No, really, man. What? Oh,
hey, Bill, highlight Rick Halber's question about the controller. It's about like 5 messages back.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, and I think since I think it needs a firmware update. But yes, they need to do something.
With the antenna, better antenna for distance.
They need to do a little bit of work on the actual something to do with the way the Wi-Fi talks back and forth. Because have you all noticed that depending upon the situation, you have like a video lag where you'll have a break and stuff, like just a hiccup here and there. Anybody? Bueller?
I don't have, the FPV, is good until it conks out. And the best answer I can give to Rick's question is I own the Paranafi also, which is the same controller. And the Paranafi and the Skydio 2 are about the same range. So maybe it is the antenna then, because again, they both get almost the same exact range. But I'll give the Skydio this: its FPV signal is stronger out to that 1 mile than the Inafi's is out to that 1 mile. In the same location, I would see more breakups in the Inafi than I would the Skydio going about a mile out.
Well, the big downfall is it's 2.4, which everything is on 2.4 pretty much. So if you live in the city or kind of like on the edge of the city, like I do, there's like route, like I could pull up my phone and be like, shh, shh, shh. Oh, there's mine. Pink. You know, so if you got that many of them, then you're going to have some issues. You need to get out some places and stuff. Okay, now here's my question. All the controller issues, all the Wi-Fi issues aside, what do you gentlemen think of the quality of video and photos you're getting out of the drone? Ron?
I'll rank it up with, almost any drone I have. Okay, it's not on the Mavic 2 Pro level, but I'm going to say it's on a level with like the Paranafi, which most people don't know. The Inafi's I need Ethan here. The Inafi takes real good pictures of video, and it's right there with that is one of my top drones for video and pictures. Now put that in perspective. It does have a flat video profile, so if you don't like the color profile that it's giving, it's not a whole lot you could do to change that. Where the other drones I've mentioned, they have flat, log profiles where you can get in there and really edit them all you want to. But this, you have to like the color profile, or you gotta live with it. And for pictures, it doesn't have raw files, I don't believe, so you can't do a lot of image manipulation either. But if you like how it looks on camera, I mean, so I thumbs up. I love the video and pictures I get out. Is the short answer, Bill.
What do you think, John?
Well, okay. I was going to grab my controller, but I haven't done enough with the video and photos yet to really comment on how they are. I've just been trying out to see if I actually like the drone the way it flies. I'm having an issue with not having as much control as I want. Even with the controller, if you guys noticed that have the controller, you have control of it, but if you get close to something, it goes its own direction. I don't know if you've flown it next to trees and everything. Like when I was flying it in my girl's yard there, it's tight spots. Grumpy Vlogger.
Well, no, he said he was back for a minute, so yeah. I wanted to make sure I gave him a plug while he was back.
Give him the plug.
So I can understand what John's saying. I mean, if I'm focused on my control issues, if I feel like I can't control, I'm not going to be thinking about the video, because your control is everything, as we know.
So when I'm flying it at her house with the controller, and I came around the house and I wanted to pull tight between two bushes in the house, which I do with the Mavics and everything all the time, just to screw around in the backyard and come back around the other side of it avoided it and went up and around it. It doesn't go through the middle like you want it to. That's where I have issues. So try that with the controller if you have the controller. The other
wow, look at this. Gonna go to the Philippines for 6 months. I'm supposed to go and visit next summer. We were gonna go this year, but with all the what scare, we're going to wait and just go to California and go next year. When we have to have new IDs, don't forget your real ID by October. Okay.
Oh, don't worry. They'll extend that again, probably. They've been wanting that for years. They'll just give it another extension.
Oh, right. Like we thought we were going to get another extension on being able to fly. Okay, so we've been beating up the Skydio. I personally
beating it up. Yeah, we have been actually.
Not really. It's been informative.
I know some people are not interested in it. I know some people are waiting on the Evo 2.
I'm not beating it up. I am trying to wrap my head. What's going to really help me is in the summertime. When I'm on the boat, this is why I bought it. I want to put it up in the air behind me on the boat, screwing around on the boat and let it do its thing. And follow me up the river. I can go to spots where there's no other boats and no other people, where I can zip around with my little boat and it'll follow behind me and get some good video. Or I can have, my friend with his jet skis, when they have jet ski races, let it follow the jet skis, stuff like that. So that's when I'll really get a good feel for it with the, artificial intelligence flying it. I usually chase them with my, DJI stuff, which does pretty good, but you can't keep up to a 70-mile-an-hour drone. This isn't, a water jet ski.
I saw this, so I had to put it up. Y'all. So there's already an antenna, or is it just something for? So is it basically just for that controller?
I've already seen that antenna put on there, yeah. And they have it so you can put two like dipoles on it, little rubber duckies. They have a couple of different configurations already.
I remember, Bill, it's been around since the Parrot and Offie.
Right.
So it's been around. It's been here.
Yeah. And the other thing,
Jones has a great question. I want to know that too.
This is a good question. Yeah.
What works?
Can you turn off the obstacle avoidance altogether, John,
no.
so you can get through those trees?
Nope.
You can't turn any of it off.
Nope.
Yeah, that's why John said he hates it.
And that's what I'm talking about, getting my head wrapped around it, because
you can't go where you wanted to go.
Right. You need to let go. You need to let go of it and let it do its thing, and it's going to be okay. And it's going to take me a little while to get used to that, because I'm not a control freak, but with my drone, I'm a control freak because I want that to do exactly the input that I put into it, but this doesn't. And you have
Okay, so has anybody tried flying in tight places with the height floor off?
Under the fishing pier.
And it worked.
Yeah, it did. It worked perfectly. Of course, I saw it, stop and look around. It didn't instantly. It hesitated for a second, kind of stalled like it was looking around, and then darted right through after me.
Right. It's not an instantaneous thing.
See, that's what kills me, like you said, is when it loses you for a split second, and it's like ET running home.
Right. And that's what you got to get used to. It's gonna find you again. It's gonna be all right. But that's the thing I'm trying to get.
I'm not sure I want it coming at me at 70 miles an hour.
Right. So that's what Rojo Droner just said. It's an action cam drone, not a cinematic, and that's why. Summertime for me is when I'm really moving around outside and stuff. I'll be on the boat. We'll be doing bicycling and stuff through the woods. That's where this drone is really going to come into play with me, because I won't be trying to fly it. And as far DJI stuff is good, but the tracking in the woods is terrible on any of their drones. It doesn't track like this is supposed to track in the woods from the videos, what I've seen.
I'm going to give you a secret, man. I think that it is a cinematic drone, and we'll find out about.
Well,
within a couple of firmwares, I think we'll see that more.
But there is people out there that say, and you can see it. They do real cinematic, real good cinematic stuff with this drone. They do a lot of editing for that, but it really does do nice shots.
And if you notice, Steve Carpenter here. See, Steve, I'm going to go down and fly this very Skydio that you see on camera right now with Steve down there.
You almost went and got it.
Yeah, down there with Steve. But Steve gave his away. He gave his to Sean Oz, and he took it with him to go skiing with Ed. And Ed went out in -4 degrees to go flying off the top of that mountain. I was like, what are you doing, man? Hey, did you see that one?
I did.
Go ahead, Ron.
I did.
What, Ron?
Did you see what Idaho quadcopter said in there? He said he's taken some pretty good, and there's people out there that have. I don't have enough experience with the camera end of it yet, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around controlling it or not controlling it.
As far as I know, that sensor, there's nothing wrong with that sensor. It's been around for quite a while.
Right.
It should be taking good shots.
Let me share that little video. It's only about a minute of me walking under the pier with the Skydio.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay.
But in the meantime, what I want to ask you, here, let's go ahead and just throw this up here. Let's go with this.
Okay, hold on. Let me play it. Okay. Sorry. Let me hit full screen and get that junk off of there.
That's okay. All right, cool.
I'm using the controller, not the beacon.
Oh, really? Cool.
That's my next thing, because I've done a lot.
Okay, look right. That's height floor off, and look how it handles that bright sun.
And it didn't go ripping through there, man.
No, that was fine. It
didn't go ripping through there.
That's not what happened in between a tighter spot with me.
But look, this looks a little cinematic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I don't have enough experience with the camera yet to tell you yes or no.
Okay, an ND filter might work on this. It would be kind of cool. But it looks to me like what do you think? A polarizer would be better than a ND filter?
Polarizer.
Yep. My ex-wife finds me everywhere I go. What, Donnie? Oh, so your wife is the Skydio too?
I'll be back. I'm going to get some more coffee, and I'll be right back.
All righty, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, he's drinking as a tribute from his Rodney Bell cup. What?
Yeah. I don't know about of course, the ND filters, of course, slow the motion down that you need so you could go with a lower shutter speed. So they're important. But an ND filter, to me, the circular polarized filter is more valuable for pictures than it is video per se or whatever. But an ND more for video because, again, you want people like in that video, I don't know, maybe I didn't have enough motion blur when I was walking along because of no ND filter.
You just want to get the glare out with the circular polarizer.
Right, and that's more important even for pictures or whatever than it is video.
Yeah, that's true. And I have not taken a single picture yet. Like the picture.
They're good. They're good. Wait until you see them.
I'm still, have not gone in depth. Like I've skimmed over parts of the instructions. Like I do know for a fact that the Skydio will not avoid moving objects.
Fast moving objects.
It basically said anything below 3 miles per hour, which I would not say 4 miles an hour is fast moving.
But it'll avoid a person walk along. And I got something for Jim that he asked about before on, and I've already I'm so old, I've lost my train of thought in seconds. I was going to answer a question you had asked a little while back that I couldn't get in, but my old brain has already forgot what it was just from seconds ago.
I know. I get that way.
Stay out of my stash, Ron.
So have any of you guys used the beacon yet? Because I've done some testing with the beacon, and I'm pretty impressed with just the beacon.
I've done a little bit of the beacon, but I've been kind of a controller guy. I used the beacon recently where I had it, a couple tests, but no, I haven't used the beacon as much as I should have.
So the
I've been a
beacon,
little beacon leery.
when you pointed at it,
What's the difference between the beacon and the controller for us who don't know?
There you go. That's
controllers are literally
Sticks.
Let me get them both.
That's it?
Sticks.
Sticks and no sticks.
Sticks, yeah. One-handed and two-handed.
Well, wait.
The controller gives you a little bit better connection, a little bit more
The
distance.
beacon, right? It's following the beacon, whereas with the controller, you're telling it where to go.
Yeah, or you can have it track the controller too. It's the same thing.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Of course you can.
But yeah, a lot of people
boy.
are strapping the beacon to boats and trucks and having it track them. Like I posted a video from a gentleman today in Coast to Coast Drones, and if you haven't already joined, please go check out our Facebook group, Coast to Coast Drones on Facebook. Yeah, and also check out Above and Beyond Drones. Go out, check out Canadian Drone Hub in the morning. Check out Xeno Nation, Ron Brown's creation, and also go check them out on Monday nights on Xeno Nation on the Xeno Nation channel.
Thanks for popping in the other night, Ron.
Ron's also Jim's also doing a Tuesday night. Is it Tuesday night show now?
Tuesday night, yeah.
Of tech talk and stuff with drones and editing and cameras and about anything technology based you can think of.
I can ask all my dumb questions and not feel embarrassed.
All right.
Well, go ahead, John.
Here we go. Here's the beacon. All right, if you guys can see that.
Actually, pretty good, yeah.
Buttons. And point it at the Skydio, and you can take and wherever you point this, that Skydio follows. I don't care what you do, it follows it, and it's pretty. Whoops, I turned it on. That's how you turn it on too, by the way. And that it's amazing how fast it'll fly. When you move it like this, the drone actually moves like that. So it's pretty impressive. That's the beacon, and you can do tell it to go in the front side, back side, and back. 360 degrees all the way around you. You know, right on the screen with there's a couple of buttons here for left and right, plus and minus, up and down. This changes some of the functions.
You see this, John? He's saying you press the Skydio symbol twice and it does a droney.
Yes. I was getting to that. There's a couple other things it'll do, but thank you for bringing that up because I can't remember everything. I didn't write anything down, but I did that. And it does it because I watched someone else's video that said they did it by accident. So I tried it and it works.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, he was talking about that in the chat. That's why I put that up.
Very good. I was trying to read the chat too, but.
Oh, no, it's all good. I was just, it doesn't really matter. Go ahead.
So let me tell you some of the cons about this. The controller itself, I don't really like the controller per se. The drone itself, I'm really growing accustomed to it. So I'm liking the drone. I just wish they had thought this out and made their own.
Right. Instead of buying it from Parrot.
Right. I was reading the chat down there that came up on the screen. So when you open this, it turns it on. You get a blue light right there. And it looks for, a Wi-Fi signal and it connects to it. When you're charging it, there's a little red light on the back. That's it. You don't know how charged this is. You don't know anything about this. When you have your phone connected, you don't know, not that I've seen, what the battery life is in this. You just don't know what the battery life is. How do you tell on an Anafi? Does it tell you on the software?
Ron?
Yes. In the app, it gives the battery life for the drone and the controller.
All right. So when you have your app open for your Skydio 2, how do you tell if this controller is charged?
I thought it did, but I don't remember.
No, the only battery life on the software is for the drone. Okay. You can see your phone's battery life and everything on the top of it. Mm-hmm. You just don't know what the charge is in this. And I haven't seen a way or had anyone talk about that. So that bothers me a lot.
So that's the problem of the software. Skydio should have built that in the app.
I haven't seen it in there. And
no, I'm saying you should have.
Yeah.
That's a con on the app.
If anyone
in chat now?
Well, see, that's a cool thing. So that's something. Hopefully, Skydio pays attention to these things like this,
These are
and they're hearing because John's already figured out what the issue was, and it made perfect sense once he started explaining it.
Right.
That like Billy's crashed because it thought it still had room to fly.
This is the 8 Plus, right? It's nothing huge. It's not. It's big, but it's nothing huge. It's very hard to get this into this controller. And it just fits. That's open as far as that thing can go, and it's only the 8 Plus.
Oh, so I have the Samsung that I use. I use my Samsung 8 Plus
too.
Yeah, right, the 8 Plus that's as far as that thing opens up, and it just fits in there. And if this pops out, it hits those joysticks. See that?
Yeah. Well, we could put the adapter in there, I think.
To be fair, I don't usually, on any of the GPS drones that I have, most of them do barely fit, like my iPhone 8. I mean, my Mavic, same deal. It's got to come out of the case and all that. So, I mean, I can't fault it too much for that. But, that whole top design there where it comes down around top of the sticks, that is... There are so many toy grades that I've reviewed that have that problem. And to tell you the truth, I know Ethan loves that controller. He loves it. But to me, it looks like a toy grade controller. It really does. Just from looking at it, it looks like a toy grade dome controller.
Toy grade controller. This feels like an Xbox controller. That's what this is.
Yeah.
It's like I use the Sky controller or the DJI. I can't even remember
smart controller.
The smart controller.
I'm used to Sky controllers and everything from my Parrot stuff, and I'm thinking Parrot Anafi. So
right.
But that controller is a controller. It's a controller. You're feeling it in your hand. It's actually comfortable. It's surprising. It's a big square, but it's rectangle, but it's comfortable. This one is comfortable. Odd. And this button over here I don't know if you guys can see this one. What does that look like to you? See how it has that plus and minus, and it has.
It's a zoom button. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's not the zoom button.
It makes
Oh,
it go
boy.
forwards and backwards, man.
It does zoom. Wait a minute. If you think zoom, it zooms it front and zooms it back. It's a high speed thing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to zoom in on that plant over there, and all of a sudden,
They didn't get rid of the magnifying, so like there's a magnifying glass on there. It's really misleading.
it's misleading.
Well, only not it is a zoom button.
Yeah, not on. It's the speed button. You'd think they would have changed that when they repurposed the controller.
Well, that's why some people just feel that the controller was an afterthought, that, it was mostly designed as a follow me drone for people who are doing like what you want to do with it. The boat.
It's made to fly itself.
Yeah, it was really made to fly itself, but they knew that people would want to be able to fly it with a controller. So it was just honestly cheaper and easier probably to just go with parrots. And it really wasn't the primary thought, at least in my opinion.
Here's
seeing
my
all you guys'
thought.
experiences.
Go ahead. Yep.
Here's my thought on it. Is we've all noticed that. How can I say it? Wait a minute. Is it Jim? Jim, you broke my train of thought, man. But I personally think that. How long did it take for them to dial in the Mavic 2 series? How many firmwares? I mean, because we were hearing, oh, this is wrong with it. This is wrong with it. Right. And they got to fix this, and they got to fix this, and they got to fix this. We've had one firmware update. We've had no controller firmware updates. We've had no secondary drone updates. We've had no beacon updates. So eventually we're going to get, hopefully in about, let's say by mid-June, July, they'll have one or two more firmware updates, and it'll be really dialed in.
I bet. I'm sure it will be. I mean, it does fly pretty darn good on its own.
And see, another thing too is to me, I guess where I started out with the super, super cheap toy drones that didn't really have good controllers and connections and stuff like that. It doesn't seem, it seems to me, yes, it has a lag, but it's still locked in. To me.
It doesn't bother you that much, basically.
Yeah, it does.
You're willing to deal with it for now.
I totally agree with Bill, and I see his point. I mean, John, you're the same way. I've flown so many different drones over the course of the years, toy drones that I can fly without any controller. And I've owned the Anafi, so I'm used to controller too. And all John's points are valid on the controller, but I mean, I still pick the thing up and fly. And the stuff he said is all very true, but it doesn't prevent me from flying the way I want to fly it or whatever. And my phone, I use the iPhone 11 thing, and it fits in there. I've never seen it pop off. So I understand everybody's concerned with the controller. It's not a DJI controller. I'm not saying it is, but I don't have any trouble flying with it.
And I'm kind of biased because that's what I use.
Look what Paul says.
So you know what? I actually think, and I've changed my mind since the very beginning, this is a great beginner drone. The reason I say that is because, what's that say? While you would agree with the firmware updates, my issue is not sure the hardware is up to snuff. Okay. But so this thing, for a brand new person that hasn't flown a DJI or any of the other ones.
Yeah.
I'm just telling people good night. Thanks for coming.
I don't know if you wanted me to stop or what.
I'll scream.
Okay. For a brand new person coming into this field, it's a no-brainer because it avoids stuff for you automatically. And if you want to fly with the controller, you won't know any difference because you've never held a real controller or a DJI controller or one of the other controllers, the Typhoon H big monster controller that, you haven't done anything. And if you've done FPV stuff and you're using a small controller or the old style controllers, you're not going to notice a difference because it's a whole different type of flying from FPV. This is actually throw it in the air and do your thing and let it follow you. So for a beginner, it's kind of a no-brainer. I don't think they'll lose as many as, oh, how close can I get to the tree? Oh, I didn't see that line there. Smash, boom. Now their $2,000 drone is down to tubes. But this one does a lot of avoidance. So I think it's good for somebody just coming into the hobby.
But as it stands now, John, with what happened to Billy and what Bill is saying, would you be confident in flying that thing above the water, chasing you on the boat?
It tells you right in there not to do that if the sun's at certain spots and stuff. You read the manual, it talks about it. So,
because it went behind, like Ron said earlier, Billy's went behind the tree line first.
You know what it is, though? And I rewatched his video. He's walking back up there, but you can clearly see the sun in that water. I mean, it's like, bam, and the drone comes around. You lose sight of him, and the drone comes around, and all of a sudden it goes blank because it went and it dove down into the water. It literally dove into the sun. Or
you don't have time to stop it. There's no stop button.
There is no stopping. Right.
And this goes back to what Paul was saying. Oh, sorry about that.
No, go ahead. What was that?
I was going to say, this sort of goes back to what Paul Murray was saying, that, firmware updates may come out for this thing to fix some issues, but also he doesn't know if the hardware is up to snuff. Like, what could they do to address that? There's no sensors on the bottom. There's no ultrasonic on the bottom, right? So how would they address that issue in particular?
I don't know.
I can't believe they didn't add this. I mean, those things are cheap.
It might have barometric pressure inside of it. I don't know. I didn't come across that. I haven't heard anybody mention that. I don't know if it does or doesn't.
Just interesting stuff to think about.
Okay,
I can tell, Jim. I've floated over the ocean many times without seeing any reaction to it at all. It just flies like the ocean's not there. But I mean, they're moving waves,
right?
A piece of glass like that bog did.
And that's where, there's one video that I took with my Mavic 2 that is so cinematic, and you come around and all of a sudden it looks like you're looking at a double image because it's mirror flat to water and the clouds are up here and the clouds are there and it looks perfect. I guarantee you this drone would have crashed in that situation.
Well, now that you brought that up, I haven't heard this recently, but a couple years ago, remember, a lot of people had a lot of warnings about not flying their DJI Mavics and lower than a certain height above water.
Right.
That was a issue, say,
See,
2 years ago.
all of this stuff that we're talking about that are issues with the Skydio are all things that have been worked out by DJI, and I really and truthfully think these boys are smart enough to get it figured out for the Skydio.
And as far as the hardware goes, if you look up the NVIDIA processor that's in this thing, it's a smoker. They didn't put, the bare bones, Celeron or whatever. I mean, this thing is a super fast cord processor that's in this thing.
There's videos on the NVIDIA Jetson TX2 all over the internet if you want to look at them. Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the hardware in this. The cameras, maybe. I don't know how they'll train it so a reflection isn't a reflection to the camera and the way the code's written. That's going to be a real hard thing to do, but they might change it so if it gets into a situation where it thinks up is down or down is up, because I think that's what it did, and they might say, okay, think about it this way, and if you have the beacon or the controller or whatever and it's only in GPS mode or camera mode, it's going to stop and you're going to have to take control of it. They might be able to do that somehow. I don't know. I don't know enough about how their code's written or how these cameras actually work. But they also want you to dust off these lenses. They don't want a fingerprint on them, nothing. And I'm sure with a fingerprint on that or a dead bug on it and the sun hitting it just right, it might think there's a tree there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember, it did come with a memory card, but it did come with a cleaning cloth for those.
Sure did.
Yep,
yeah.
it did. Yep.
And that's one of the next things it says in safety.
That's interesting because Bill, that's the cloth you had laying over it before we.
Cleaning cloth, and it tells you clearly in the manual. Make sure those cameras are all clean before you take it.
And that gives them an out to say, "Hey, idiot, we gave you a cloth with it."
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is they tell you point blank, unless you do something totally stupid, that you'll get one drone, a replacement. So, unless you're trying to do something that is said blatantly, and they even gave Billy one. So think about it that way.
Yeah.
So if they're going to give him one by just flying across, You know, because you could say the same thing. Oh, well, there was a creek and it just saw the creek and hit the water.
Yeah,
You know,
I rewatched that, and he was. I thought he had gotten in the car and they started to drive, but he was just walking back, and it was definitely in GPS mode. And it, you know, the blue symbol's there, and it's looking for him, and it just bink, and it's gone. And it looked like it was going sideways, but I think what happened was sideways and went right into the water. Just did one of its high-speed takeoffs, and we didn't see that on the film because you don't see it going into the water.
Right.
Strange. And that I found strange. It didn't record as it went into the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But did you notice how
was that because it did it so fast?
That maybe. I don't know. You'd have to ask Billy why it didn't video it splashing into the water. You'd think it would splash into the water and keep filming until the thing shorted out.
Yeah.
Well, at that height, wouldn't the gimbal be one of the first things to hit?
Well, do you still have video though?
You'd still see it hitting the water.
Yeah, it was really weird. I don't know.
You just see it flying sideways, and then the screen goes black. I just rewatched it. But
and I'm sure he wouldn't have cut that off because that would have been good fire for effect.
It would have been on, right? So, you know, it might have came down low, and you know we didn't notice that, and it rocketed right into the water backwards or something. You would think you would still see it go into the water, or the reason that they're replacing it, something shorted out in it or went bad, and that's why you lost video and it went into the water.
I agree with Paul here, what he's saying. Why don't you have the ultrasonic sensors? And if you do have the camera on the bottom, which you just showed me, what the hell's the camera doing? Is it ranging or not? If it's not ranging, what's it there for? The landing, the return to home landing? Make sure I don't land on a rock?
I think it ranges. I really do. We'd have to look into it more, but I think it's telling you the height off the ground.
I think it is too.
Yeah, because the way they showed the intro videos to this, and it goes into how it sees in the cameras, it's showing levels in there. It doesn't show that it's a picture like this.
Right.
It goes into showing where it's showing you depth and everything in, you know, a 3D form, not in a picture form. So it pencils in everything. So it shows the peaks and valleys, and it can see that there's a chain link fence there. I don't know. You remember the early videos that it showed how the tracking worked?
Yeah, and the camera, and just like a drone does have ultrasonic sensors on the bottom. This Skydio won't land on like, you know, I don't know, something unsafe. It won't land on a bicycle rack or whatever. It'll avoid something below it that it shouldn't land on.
Right.
Now that I can see the camera doing, but a camera, unless it's the LiDAR, light detection and ranging, it can't tell it how high it is or how low it is.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Rick Halber's saying there's 3 cameras on the bottom, so there must be 3 inside that one. Jesus, I'm backwards.
Yeah.
Spot.
How about the back? What's on the back leg there?
Yeah, there's 2 on the back.
Well, there's 2 on the back.
Oh, okay.
Which look around, and there's 2 on the front. Oh no,
1 on the front. 1 on the front.
Sorry, 1 and 1. So there's cameras on the bottom here.
Then it shouldn't have done that.
And then they're on the top and the top. So it's a mirror image on the bottom as the top. So there's 3. And then again, there's 3 here. So
I guess what it comes down to is, you know what, and you guys, I will say this, you guys who are keeping the Skydio out there, you guys are the true super fans and pioneers, because I gotta tell you, me personally, I don't know if I could keep $1,000 drone plus the cost of control, everything else, and wait for fixes. I just don't know if I could do it. Not that it's just like unusable or anything like that, but you know, everyone's situation is different.
It really does fly good. You just got to overcome not controlling it. Let it control itself.
Yeah, and I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do that. And
you're an FPVer, so every little tiny thing on the joystick does something. But
I've also flown DJI stuff too, so I'm used to my Mavic. But I'm the guy too who will wait like 6 months before I waited 6 months before I bought my Mavic Pro. Well, one of the reasons that I didn't jump on the DJI system right away too is because the FPV one is because I'm waiting. I was waiting to see how, you know, the fixes and whatnot. We learned last week a lot from Mitch, old guy in a drone, about all the stuff DJI did to update it and really improve it. Because, unfortunately, and this happens with smaller drone manufacturers more than the big ones. With Autel, the X-Star Premium, a lot of people were very upset with how long it took that company to get out firmware updates. And some of these smaller companies, depending on their situation, it can take a while for these updates to come out. And oh man, I remember back in the Autel groups, people were so upset that it took them so long to just get us some simple updates out for the XSP. But by that time, they had already been moved on to the Evo.
Yep, that's
so
why
it's a gamble. It's a bit of a gamble. Go ahead, John.
No, I was just agreeing with you. That's why I didn't buy those drones, because it was just untested, and people were having problems and all sorts of stuff. So.
Well, most drones that get released today do have a little bit of trouble. Even, remember the Mavic Air came out and it was shaking in cold weather. You guys all remember that?
Yeah.
And you had one side arguing, "Oh, that's normal. That's completely normal." You had another side saying, "No way, no way." And then in a week, DJI had it fixed.
Yeah. And you could have fixed that problem by going in there and changing the curves of the motor and everything to make it, what the hell is that called? Just like when you put the other master screw, the first version props on there, you had to go in there and set it to the settings. You could have lowered the settings and made that vibration go away.
Fix yourself, yeah.
You can do that on a DJI drone. You can't do that on the Skydio.
Right. You guys looked at the app. It's very, very minimal what you can do with the drone.
Just to be clear, I'm not trying to trash the Skydio or anything. I'm not either. But I'm at a point where I don't want to beta test for some of these companies. Right. Jim gets it. I don't want to be a beta tester for $1,000. That's just me. I want something that's working 100%, 110%. Maybe that's asking a bit too much, but I see too many of the drone manufacturers out there just using the customers as their beta testers.
And DJI does
high-priced drones. DJI does it all the time. Yeah. I'm not gonna let anybody get away with it. But
the other thing that I'm scared about this one is the what was that?
Not to be hypocritical, but I put a deposit down on the VCOP. Oh, that thing's a piece of junk. I'm sorry, but I saw that at CES, and I don't even have a video up on it. Maybe I'll put it up. I don't know.
I'm glad that we kind of got into this subject, because this is something that's been eating at me for a couple of weeks now, and I want to go ahead and get it out there. We don't have any big sponsors for this show. We don't have any big fancy studio behind us. I'm not having somebody contact me expecting me to sell drones for their business.
Right.
But here's what I got to tell you. The money that's in your wallet is yours. If you want to gripe about a drone coming out, then you got every right to gripe about all day long to that company about that drone coming out. If you want to fly the drone you got at home once or twice a week because that's what you like to do, then do that.
Right.
Don't be listening to all these people that try to get you to open your wallet and make them a living, because this is something I love to do as a hobby. I like sharing it with you all. I like being out here. I like bringing up the fact about remote ID, because this is a hobby to me. This is a kinship to me. This is not my way of life. This is not something that I depend upon to pay the bills and to keep my family's roof over their head. There's a lot of channels out there.
Either.
There's a lot of channels out there that are telling you how you need to act, how you need to spend, how you need to do. Those channels are sponsored, and they expect you to jump through all those hoops for them. No. I'm just telling you to have your own mind and fly and have fun. We all love to fly, and that's what I love about this. So with that being said, I know that we've been kind of skating on the edge. We've been talking about Skydio all night. I know Jim has some information he would like to update about remote ID. I know John has finally finalized his comment. I'm not sure if he would like to comment or not. But I would also like to, just like I said, it's you work for your money, spend it however you want to. If you want to gripe at a drone manufacturer, let them deal with it. Don't be listening to all these other channels.
I'll just finish this off.
All right.
About the Skydio, and then you guys can go on the other thing. So I haven't flown this enough to make up my mind on this thing. The reason being is, and I'm not bashing it, I'm just saying what is up. Yeah, I love my Mavic Mini. I like all the drones I have, and I have a few of them. and they all serve their purpose. This one is really going to tell me what's going on in the summer when I'm active outside. You know, so I can't be a good judge of it. I can only tell you the cons of it, really. And I just need to get used to letting it fly itself. You know, the part that there's one last part I want to test on this that I wish other people will test is the way it goes to home, because then we can tell Skydio, hey, let's change this so it goes up and over. But if you're at 8 feet and you hit the home button, it stays at 8 feet and flies 40 miles an hour back to the spot.
There's no return to home height?
No.
I don't understand it.
Has anybody seen it in the app, a return to home height?
I thought it was in there, and I've had at one time I had connections. I had to return 3 times, returned over right in the road, and it returned it over 100 feet every time.
I went out a half a mile and made it return. Well, that thing stayed at 10 feet high the entire trip sideways. So when it took
my babies, my wife just posted it. I had to share my babies.
That is beautiful. Yeah, nice.
Well, that's gonna be
eyeball dachshunds.
That's gonna be my homework assignment, John. I'm gonna get in there and see if
Try
you can change the height.
And go out pretty far too, in a big field. Try it and stop it before it gets to the home point, and then just tell it to come back to the phone. Hit home again, and say phone this time instead of where you took it off from. So you take it off from someplace, walk way away from it, have it fly back to that spot just before it gets to the spot. Say, come back to my phone, and it just stops and it comes back to your phone the same way, at the same height, everything. If something gets in its way, it avoids it whichever way it can. But that's the only other thing that I think they need to do, is add it so you can put it up in the air to come back.
But I mean, in a real world scenario, most of the time you're going to be flying, well, say 100 feet in the air, getting some quote unquote cinematic footage. So if it would come back at that level, you would kind of be okay. I mean, most times I'm not flying 8 feet off the ground.
No, but if it's lost,
I'm taking off or descending.
So this is the issue I would have. If it gets lost tracking you and you're on a bicycle and you're in the woods.
Right. Okay.
Now you don't know where it is because you're on a bicycle and you're wherever. So, okay, I want it to return to my phone. You hit the button. What does it do? Just turns and tries to go straight back to you. It avoids. It's supposed to avoid what it is, but it doesn't go up and it doesn't go down. It just goes whatever height it's at. So if it lost you when it went under a tree or something, it's going to be at the 8 foot or 10 foot level. In the middle.
You know what's in my head, John and Ron? That APAS system that's on the Phantom 2 version 2 Pro version 2 and the Mavic 2. When it sees something, it's supposed to try and go up and around it. But if this thing's flying back at 70 miles an hour, 8 feet off the ground,
right?
Wow, it's gonna have to boom, stop, go up.
I guess that's why we've seen them get stuck in trees.
Right? Yeah, we saw Billy's get stuck in the tree.
Hey, I put this in the chat. We didn't get to this, but I want you to tell him, John, the wind. The Skydio 2 handles wind like nothing except my top end DJI drones. Do you agree, John?
It's great in the wind. I flew it on windy days. There's no issue in the wind with it.
Yeah, much better than say the Anafi or some of my other anything but my DJI drones. Nothing.
My Terra drones
in the wind.
They weren't the best in the wind.
They're not heavy enough.
They're not. And the Mavic Mini is surprisingly good for the weight in the wind.
But the Anafi's better in the wind than the Mini at a little bit heavier weight.
Quick point. I see that Mitch is getting ready to take off for the night. Please make sure to go drop by and see Old Man in a Drone tomorrow, as he has his weekly Thursday show. And he's also started a new program on Sundays for beginner FPV people. So if you have any interest in FPV or are willing to help him teach people about FPV, get in touch with Mitch over at Old Guy in a Drone and show up with Sundays with Mitch and talk about people in FPV. Something I wanted to bring up earlier. We saw Steve Coots came into the room, and I wanted to give a shout out to Steve. Glad to see you. I had invited Steve back in the future. We're going to do a Mavic Mini episode. But a quick plug that I wanted to talk about for next week. As you all notice, Ethan is on his way across the country, making his great trek to the West Coast from the East Coast. And in his stead, Jim from Above and Beyond Drones is joining us. And Jim has an interest. He's noticed that everybody uses different software. And we've had Ethan on, and he's basically played with Final Cut Pro. So next week, we're going to try to dive into a little bit of hit film, a little bit of Power Director, maybe even a little bit of their Director Suite 365. Also, maybe Ron and I will do a little bit with Luminar 4, because as you all know, we try to keep up everything here because we're always talking about software and editing and everything. Oh, it's perfectly great, Steve. Glad to see you in the house. Like I said, I'll get in touch with you again, and we'll get you back on in the future. And I really, because we're running up on 90 minutes being on, and I kind of tend to run it down this way, I wanted to go back over the remote ID thing one more time, because this is it. Do we have one more time? No, I think we're done. We're not going to have another one until the comment period is over. So this is it. If you have not commented, please formulate your comment and get it in by March 2nd. Is that not?
Yeah.
By March 2nd. So please do your best to get it in. I will pass it over to John. Would you like to talk about what you sent in, and then throw it over to Jim about what he would like to talk about?
Sure. So I'm going to throw a link real quick into the chat. So the link I just put is the FPV Freedom Coalition's summary response. They actually have like a 24-page response, but that is the summary. If you guys have not commented yet, what I would recommend you do, and this is what I did, I went to that summary page. I mean, I personally agree with pretty much everything on there. So I copied one of the points, and then I wrote a personal reason why I support that point below it. So like, for example, point number 5 on that page is recreational registration should continue to be pilot only. And then I wrote, I have tons of drones, and if I had to register each drone for $5 per drone, that would just be a huge financial burden. It would be ridiculous. I talked about how I have lots of drones that I don't necessarily fly all the time, but I want to break out on certain days when, the weather or the time permits. So it would just be a huge burden to have to register each and every drone. Again, elimination of the build restrictions for amateur built UAS. I talked about, my experiences building, how it's benefited me. The FRIAs, personally, I feel those are unfair. I don't agree with the FAA recognized areas. So that's the way I formulated mine. I copied the points, and then I wrote my little opinion below it. There's something interesting I want to mention here. And this was this bit, number 9. The FPVFC is proposing to increase the FAA registration weight limit from 250 grams to 1 kilogram. Now, when I saw that, I'm like, that's interesting. Why did they do that? I want to read this to you guys. So the FPVFC says that they're citing a final report for the FAA UAS Center of Excellence Task A4 UAS Ground Collision Severity Evaluation, dated the 27th of October, 2016. With respect to having to register each UAS above a set mass, the FAA estimates the number. Wait a minute. Maybe that's wrong. Oh, okay. Wait. In addition, the FPVFC proposes that the 250-gram clip level be raised to 1 kilogram. Even at this mass, they do not create an excess kinetic energy safety issue, as described in the final report. I'm sorry, I got a little mixed up in the reading there. But basically, there's a final report from the FAA UAS Center of Excellent Task Force, whatever, that says that our 250-gram drones are not a kinetic energy safety issue. Can you guys believe that? I did not really know that until I saw that in that document. So some very interesting stuff in the full 24 pages.
Okay, Jim,
of your response?
No, of the FPVFC's response.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mine's like just a short essay, more or less.
They're killing STEM now. Everybody's going to have FAA administrator approval. A person may operate a UAS that does not have remote ID for the purposes of aeronautical research, but you'll have to have approval from the FAA administrator. Those are the words in the document. So that's going to kill building anything. And this CBO AMA field crap, forget about it. They're saying only recognized FAA administrator recognized airfields will be allowed.
And how long will they take to get those airfields? I don't see any now. Do you?
Well, I don't have one near me.
Right. That's what I mean. There's none near me.
Well, you better be applying, and you better be applying quick. And
nope,
I just
there's
wanted
rules
to.
in there too. That all has. You have to be a member of an organization.
Well, I am a member of the AMA, but
okay. Well, then you can try under the guise of AMA.
Within 5 miles, I'm next to 2 military bases, so I have to go 5 miles away to actually fly.
Then you probably will.
Fly 3 miles, and it'll give me a ceiling of 200 feet. But
all right. Well, this
Jim
is.
was. Sorry.
Well, no, I'm just trying to, because we all gotta. I have to wind up things, and I know that Ron's got to wind up things, and John's got to wind up things. So we all have regular world things that we have to do. As we said, this is our hobby. I know this is a heated issue, so like I said, please, everybody, go comment while we still have a chance, and hopefully it'll work out for us. In the meantime, please join us next week as we're going to have our editing episode, and then we're going to try to do a little more planning between now and then and come up with some more interesting and creative shows. As I said, we're going to have Steve Coots on and do a Mavic Mini episode, really dive in deep. And so I'm going to throw it around the room real quick. First off, I'm going to say, Ron, what would you like to send us out with?
Thank you, Bill. I want to, echo the comments that you made and John made that we need to get everybody over to that portal and leave a good sensible comment about the what you think of the new proposed rules, and you just leave something that makes some sense and helps the industry out. And also, I want to thank. We had a great group in the chat tonight. I saw a lot of great comments and questions out there, and I want to thank John for being a special guest tonight. He brought a lot of good points up that I didn't know about Skydio yet, so I learned a lot from being on the show with him. And and that's I think I said John. If I said Jim, I meant John. And I want to thank Jim for sitting in for Ethan tonight, and also John Cuppi for being the good host he always is. So on that note, I'm going to throw it over to I guess John's already spoken, so I'll throw it over to Jim.
You guys did a great job on explaining the Skydio and its aspects of flight there. John, that was a great presentation. And Ron, thanks for helping out with that. Listen, if we don't comment on remote ID, we're stuck for life with the results, okay? Right. This thing is going to put you in a 400-foot bubble. That's it, 400 feet out, up, down, and you're still going to have to be connected. Comment, even if you don't have something to say, look at someone else's comments and maybe make up your own to go along with it. But they have to read them. That's the law. Whether we can get anything in on it, I don't know, because since 2014, they've been running the IPP programs. You've all heard about the 50-mile corridor upstate New York. They're ahead of us on this, but we get a say, and you need to have your say in there. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. And then, John, your closing thoughts?
Oh, yep. Screwing around with the screen here.
Oh, it's okay.
Anyway, I'm back up. I appreciate you guys, for one, having me come on the show. I was nervous at first. I don't know a lot about the Skydio. I appreciate you guys listening to what I have to say, and it's great hearing everything else that everybody else has to say. I do think this is going to be a good drone. For cinematonic stuff, I have a hard time with that word. I don't know why. And for action shots, I really think it's going to be great for, action shots. And I think it's going to be good for first-time people. I know it has its issues. I think they'll work them out. Us, the first group that got these, that's why we should be talking back and forth to Skydio with all this stuff. I wish I didn't spend so much time on this, because I really wanted to learn more about these FAA rules, because I'm really curious about that. We should all go out. We should comment, but I think we're going to have an issue. I don't think they're going to sway at all on what they're proposing. I think their minds are made up. I'm hoping that's not the case. If enough people sign, and comment on it, I think we might have a chance, but I don't know. So, again, it's next Wednesday. You guys are doing your
software
editing.
Yeah, we're
it's the
software
same time, same place,
same bat channel.
8:30, 8:30, same bat channel. Okay, yep. I'll put that in my reminders so I know.
We're here every Wednesday. We've been doing it for we're working on 3 years now. Working on 3 years now.
The problem with me is nighttime is when I get all my paperwork done, so that's why you don't see me too much at night until it's really later at night. You know, if any of you guys saw that. Sometimes I'll do it from work, but that's my problem. After everybody leaves, I have that window till like 8 o'clock, and then I come home and eat. And then, you know, by that time I'm watching something on TV. I don't even get on YouTube. So I do really appreciate you guys having me on here. This isn't the only Skydio episode we're going to do. So we will probably have you on again. Hopefully we'll get more people with more Skydios on. I know we've got a lot of people that do. Yes, that would be great. More people with Skydios, more different adventures with it and everything. And hopefully I'll be able to stream a little bit better. I'll learn OBS or whatever and actually use a computer instead of my laptop where this video will be smooth so I can actually show you some of these things, like how fast that thing actually goes around. Because if you watch the video, that thing goes from behind you to in front of you instantly. It's just amazing how fast. And when you
have a GoPro camera you can set up?
I'm going to get into that. You know, I have one of those old Black Hero 3s, I think it was.
It's good enough, man. Hey, I still got the original GoPro.
Yeah, I have the next one up from that. No screen on it. You got to look at your phone. But anyways, so I didn't want to take up too much of your time. Great to be on your stream. Thank you very much.
Great to have you.
Yes, like I said,
absolutely, man.
You guys are great.
Thank you very much. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone who has come in tonight, and we've really loved all the input and everything. Glad to have Jim on the panel. You've given us some good input tonight. John, Ron, some really, really good Skydio input. A lot of great questions coming from the chat and everywhere else.
Yep.
Like I said, next week we're going to try various different softwares. Hit Film, Premiere Pro, some Power Director,
iMovie.
Some
DaVinci Resolve and
Luminar. We're going to bring out a little bit of everything next week. So please join us next week. And with that being said, live long and prosper.